Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to a live show. Well, we actually do have some significant updates coming in on Manchester United for a change. Onana is out injured, that is confirmed by a club source, a good, reliable club source. He will miss the pre-season tour and could miss the first few games of the season. Is coming out in regards to Andre Onana. Also, there's suggestions the Mbeumo deal could be done this week, and this week is over in like 2 days because it's Saturday, so we might be seeing the Mbeumo breakthrough. United want it done by Monday. He's returning to England. We're going to talk about keepers to watch. United looking at potentially other keepers. We're going to talk about Sancho. We're going to talk about other players linked to Manchester United and more. And you might be thinking, Alice, where are you? Alice is on holiday, hence why there's a slight different background. Also, I know I'm wearing sunglasses, but it is really bright in here, and I've had about 2 hours sleep, so I need these to focus on. But we've got updates on Sancho, we've got updates on a few players being linked to Manchester United. So look, I don't want to make this news super long. I don't want to make this news so super long, so we're going to get right into it. But I will say the Wi-Fi where I'm on holiday is good in terms of the speed is good, but it does cut out here and there, so it might be really good for like half an hour, then cut out for a minute. So I do apologise if that does happen while I am live. But yes, this is news coming in from Mike McGrath. So should we get into the Onana news, because it's quite a big story. Someone said that this is fake news. This isn't fake news. Like, this has come out from Mike McGrath. I don't know why people are saying that this is fake news and are getting angry at me. This has come out from Mike McGrath, who was briefed by the club that Onana has been ruled out pre-season tour with a hamstring injury, and is now weighing up whether to buy another goalkeeper before the Premier League season gets underway. 8 weeks is a projected timeout. Vitek is a candidate for pre-season tour. This isn't fake news. If Mike McGrath gets this wrong, this is very damaging for him, because this is a big thing to put out. This is a big story to put out. And he is someone that has good connections to the club and is very accurate with his information. So I'm not sure why people have been saying fake news, because, look, maybe Romano will come out and Ornstein will come out in a couple of hours and say Onana's not injured. Maybe they will, but I'd be very surprised. If this had come out from Footy Insider, if this had come out from Court Offside, I'd be like, guys, this is what's been said, but how will they know? But if this gets put out by someone that has club connections, I would assume that it is true. This is a good source of information, because Manchester United don't always just brief Romano and Ornstein before everyone else. There are 4 or 5 journalists in and around Man United that get briefed. The thing is, because the journalists get briefed around by Man United, obviously they put out what Man United want them to put out, but do you know what I mean? So this is story coming out here saying about the Onana news. Has Romano's confirmed it? So yeah. So I don't know why people are accusing me of making fake news in the chat. I think Romano may have confirmed it. No, he hasn't. Yeah, I don't think Romano's confirmed it, so we're waiting for that. But this has come out from a good source of information. So we're going to talk more about Onana as well. Has Romano said it now? Let me see if Romano's confirmed it. No, I haven't seen anything from Romano yet. On this. But this is a good source of information. So this is big. So I want to talk about Onana's injury and what that might mean as well. A couple people are getting on this story. Yeah, so now Mike McGrath has come out with this story. A few other sources of information are coming out. And I just want to ask you guys quickly, before I get into the goalkeepers to looking at, before I get into these on Mbeumo coming in this week, is the connection okay? Is there any issues? Is it clear? Just let me know on that. But by the way, Ben Jacobs has confirmed it as well. So other journalists are now confirming this news on Onana. By the way, guys, there's a few other journalists are now coming out and confirming this news. So this is breaking news coming in just now in regards to Onana. And as you can see here on my screen, we look like we've got some confirmation coming in from Ben Jacobs here, again saying Onana will miss the Man United's pre-season tour of America. He's saying 4 to 6 weeks out. I read online that it was 8 weeks out, so that's the only difference there as well. So there is obviously updates coming out in regards to Onana. Romano's confirmed it on Instagram. So this is true news. I told you guys, Mike McGrath wouldn't put this out and lie. He's not one that's going to lie. He would get told this from the club. So Romano has apparently said this on Instagram. So this has now been confirmed that Romano, that Onana is out. So this is now confirmed news. There was links to Vanja Milinkovic-Savic, but I think did Napoli go in for him in the end? I'm not 100% sure. And if Roman is putting this on Instagram, I don't really use Instagram, so I'm just going to believe whoever put this in the chat that Roman has put this on Instagram. That's further update on that. So should we talk about the goalkeeper situation, or should we talk about Mbeumo? We'll talk about Mbeumo, and then we'll talk about the goalies United are looking at. I feel like that's a good way to potentially approach the video. So I think McGrath, I believe, said 6 to 8 weeks out. I believe. I'm going to double check that. And Ben Jacobs was saying 4 to 6 weeks out. I think he said 6 to 8 weeks out. Oh no, Chris Weed is saying 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, maybe it's going to be more like 6 weeks. Let me edit that then. Maybe it's more like 6 weeks out. So Onana could be out for about 6 weeks. He's going to miss the tour. Interestingly, Vitek, who is a young Manchester United keeper, is a candidate for pre-season tour. I'm going to say this now. A lot of people are celebrating in the chat. A lot of people are celebrating, by the way, in the chat. A lot of people are celebrating in the chat that Onana's injured. All I'm going to say now is Bayendir is worse. I ain't celebrating Onana being injured. I wouldn't celebrate any of our players being injured, because at the end of the day, we're going to need all the players we can have, because Onana being injured might not change anything. It's Manchester United. We're very slow in the market. They might say, oh, he's only going to miss the first few games of the season, so what's the point in signing a keeper? We're looking at our options. We've been linked to some keepers. We're going to talk about that. A couple of people are celebrating this, saying, is it a blessing in disguise? For me, if this means that Bayendir plays more and Bayendir stays, there's nothing to celebrate, because I don't think Bayendir is better than Onana. Maybe, this gives one of the young keepers an opportunity, and one of the young keepers really impresses, like Vitek, because we never gave Kovar that chance. And maybe the young keeper starts the first few games of the season for us, and we find out we've got a gem in the academy, and we don't need to sign a goalkeeper. I mean, it could be a blessing in disguise in that sense of we give Vitek this opportunity. Vitek does really well on tour, starts the first few games of the season. And unlike when we sold Kovar and Dean Henderson, we've actually found a keeper in our academy that saved us maybe 20 million quid. I mean, it could be a blessing disguised in that way. But look, if we had Sergio Romero as our second keeper, it's not the end of the world. But I really don't rate Bayendir. I think Onana's better than Bayendir, and Onana has been pretty crap for us. So I know a lot of people are celebrating, saying, I hope he's injured forever. Right now, we don't have a replacement in. I don't like Onana. I want Onana gone. I want Onana sold. I want a better keeper. But I don't think Bayendir is better than Onana. I think they're both bad, if I'm going to be honest. So unless we get, a replacement in the door, I wouldn't celebrate it just because you dislike Onana, personally. Because right now, Bayendir is the alternative. It's not like we got this great goalkeeper there. That's the situation. And look, Vitek, 6'5". Vitek is an exciting keeper, and he could be getting opportunities as well. I'm wearing glasses because I am on holiday. It's crazy bright in here, and I'm on 2 hours sleep, so I just look really rough behind these glasses and stuff as well. But look, there is a few keepers on the market, and I'm going to talk about that. But should we talk about the news coming in regards to Mbeumo? Because again, this has come out from Mike McGrath. Mike McGrath got connections to Manchester United. Mike McGrath has been pretty spot on with his story on Onana. Mike McGrath put this out 40 minutes ago, and it seems to have now been confirmed by many sources that Onana is out injured. Mike McGrath has given us an update on Mbeumo. Now, every update we've had on Mbeumo recently has just led to nothing. It's infuriating. But he has given an update in regards to Mbeumo, and he said this. And this is a positive update. Look, again, actions speak louder than words. Believe it when I see it. Manchester United are snails in the market. But this is the same guy that said before Oman, said before anyone else that Onana was out for pre-season tour, that got that exclusive today from Man United. He didn't just put out that exclusive, but he's now put out some exclusive information on other stuff. He said Bryan Mbeumo is expected to arrive at Manchester United this week ahead of the pre-season tour. A breakthrough in talks is expected in the coming days, with Mbeumo set to join Manchester United and set to join Matheus Cunha and Diego Leon as new signings at Manchester United. So he's suggesting that Bryan Mbeumo to Man United could be done this week ahead. There's a suggestion it could be done in the next few days. So it's not necessarily this week, it's this week ahead. I was going to say, because if it's this week, it has to be done tomorrow, because this week ends in like 30 hours. So I misread that at the start of my video and said, this week. It's this week ahead. So this could be in the next week. So there's updates coming out there from Mike McGrath, who was spot on with his first story, that Mbeumo is expected to arrive at United. Now he's saying that Mbeumo is expected to arrive at United this week ahead. A breakthrough is expected in the coming days. Now, look, we've been told for 3 weeks a breakthrough is expected in the coming days, and nothing has happened. So we can't really celebrate it. But this is a guy that's got all his information spot on today. So you know what? He's one of the better sources to listen to. So please, Mbeumo in the coming days, please be right, Mike McGrath, because you've taken a big dub on Onana as of now. So yeah. Alex says, honestly, I'm blocking out any Mbeumo or Sancho news until something happens. It feels like that at the moment because it's a little bit repetitive, and I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But look, Mike McGrath is a good source. He's feeling it could be done soon. Look, it could be guesswork. We could be sitting here this time next week and Onana isn't done, so we can't get too giddy or too excited over this kind of news. But it's a positive indication that this deal may finally come to a conclusion. And I saw Kane say this on to X, and he obviously is with the United District. He said, coincidence or not, that breakthrough in negotiations is supposedly set to happen when Mbeumo returns to England and is meant to start training again. It's interesting that this breakthrough is going to happen when Mbeumo returns to England and starts training again. I think the pressure's really on to get this deal wrapped up in the next few days. I think the pressure is really on. Disgrace the way United fans celebrate Onana news. Yeah, look, I don't like Onana. I would like Onana sold. I'd like an improvement on Onana. But he's better than Bayendir. He's our best keeper at the club right now. I'm not going to celebrate him getting injured. Onana getting injured doesn't necessarily mean Man United are going to go out and sign a world-class keeper. Onana being injured just might mean that Bayendir plays instead, and that's not, for me, an improvement. I think, look, do I think we can improve on Onana? Yes. But I wouldn't want any of our players to get injured, whether it's Højlund, whether it's Onana. I don't care who it is. I don't want any of our players injured, because at the end of the day, even if they're crap for us, the more options Amarin has, the merrier. You know what I mean? The more options he has, the merrier. I don't wish injury on any of our players, like not one. So yeah, some people are happy about the news, but I'm personally not. But look, maybe it gives an opportunity to a young keeper. Maybe it turns out to be a blessing in disguise, in the sense of that young keeper does really well. I think when Leno got injured, Emi Martinez finally got his chance in goal, and then he was really good for Arsenal, and he then basically became a World Cup winner. So look, a goalie injury can open up the door for someone. It could open up the door for Vitek, like when Leno opened up the door for Emi Martinez. But like we just don't know what's going to happen. Now, obviously, we've been linked to a couple of goalkeepers. We've been linked to Lamens. We were linked to Lucas Chevalier, but I think he will be out of our price tag. We were linked to James Trafford, who is very likely to join Newcastle United. But another player we've been linked with is Botafogo keeper John Victor. We've been linked to him a couple of times in the last week or so. And there is a lot of reports coming out from Brazil to suggest that this deal could be advancing, and this deal is one to watch. Now, I'm going to tell you something about South American media and Manchester United. South American media love to use Manchester United to get their players a move. We are always linked to players from South America that it turns out that we were never actually looking at, but their agent has gone and put out information that United are in for this player to help them get a move. For example, Aaron Anselmo this time last year, or maybe like a year and a bit ago, we were being told that United were really in for this guy. United really liked Aaron Anselmo by multiple sources. We got a bit of updates on United's interest in Aaron Anselmo, for him to go to Chelsea, and find out his agent was just using Manchester United to scare Chelsea into the deal. Franco Mastantuono, I'm sure we're watching, so I don't know if that was one. But we get linked to a lot of South American players, and I'm worried that this is the case with Richard Rios. We've been linked to Richard Rios a bit, who looks like he's going to Roma. But we get linked to a lot of players out in South America, and it's their agent making up lies to go, there's a South American player out there, Man United are in for them, to put pressure on the other club that's in for them to buy them. That's the thing as well. Alice is being forced to go out every weekend and get lashed due to Manchester United and confidence. Do better, United. I feel like, does lashed mean wasted? I feel like I don't know the meaning of a lot of words as well. So I'm going to assume that means get drunk or something, which actually I haven't drunk for 2 weekends. But look, Man United make me stressed. Man United, when I'm stressed, I get functional tics, which I can't control. Like, I can do movements. Sometimes I get verbal ones, but it's very rare. Like, it's not played up in like years. But I'm stressed. I can get like the functional tics, and I had none for like 6 years, and I got a few after the Europa League final for the first time. So Man United does bring out the stress in me, but no, we've not turned to going out every weekend. We've not turned to going out every weekend. Yeah, but the club is pushing us all to drink at this rate. It really is. So yeah, we've been linked to the Botafogo keeper. £10 million, £5.9 million. Is now being said. Look, £5.9 million. It's the second keeper. He looked right at the Club World Cup. I don't know how good he is. Could he be much worse than Mendy? No. Could he be much worse than Onana? No. That's one to watch, but is it being pushed by his agent? Now, another one to watch, and this is past news, but this was a guy we were linked to quite heavily in the past, and is said to be affordable. It's young. He kind of, if you look at the data as well, he kind of ticks all the boxes of a keeper that Ineos would want. But Sen Lamens is a name that I hear quite often, so I wouldn't be surprised if United go for him, was said by Simon Stone. Now, Simon Stone works for the BBC. He's pretty well informed. He doesn't really speak about Man United lots, but when he does, I'm assuming, he's got some genuine information there. He is suggesting that Lamens is a name that he hears. So we've got the Botafogo keeper being linked. Lamens potentially one to watch as well. In regards to keeper updates going in, we had links to James Trafford in the past, but I think he's going to Newcastle, and I think it's a bit expensive. Burnley want 30 million for that deal. Unless we sell Onana, we can't spend more than 20 million on a goalkeeper. To even spend 20 million on a goalkeeper, we have to sell Bain dear. But unless we sell Onana, we will not be spending more than 20 million on a goalkeeper. So James Trafford is out the door. Emi Martinez is out the door. Lucas Chevalier is out the door. We don't have the money for that. And Onana being injured basically means our chances of selling him this summer are even lower than it was before. Even low. Like, our chances of basically getting Onana out the door was low. Getting an injured Onana out the door is very low. Look, I'm not going to pretend I've watched a lot of Lamens. I'm not going to pretend I've watched a lot of Lamens. But what I will say about Lamens is his data. His underlying, you can't really judge a player off stats and data and underlying numbers, but it can give you an idea. Like, it's a different league, it's a different system, but it can give you an idea of strengths and weaknesses. For a goalkeeper, his data is unbelievably good. Unbelievably good for a goalkeeper. It really is. So I think he looks like a very good player. I feel like Vanja Milinkovic-Savic was linked to Napoli, but I don't think that deal went through. He's at Torino. Something tells me he could be potentially moving to another Italian club. But again, that move hasn't gone through. Could the Onana injury make us push for Milinkovic-Savic? The Kepa deal looking good right now. You know what? Onana's better than Kepa. I don't care what you think. Onana is better than Kepa. I'm saying that now. I wouldn't swap Onana for Chelsea's keeper Sanchez. I wouldn't. I wouldn't swap Onana for Kepa. I wouldn't. Kepa is just... Kepa's probably the worst goalkeeper I've seen that's played for top clubs when it comes to saving long-range shots. The amount of long-range shots that you just know David De Gea would have saved, that's just gone through Kepa's hands. Yeah. So for me, I wouldn't take Kepa. I wouldn't take Kepa at Manchester United. I feel like there's better options out there. I wouldn't take Sanchez at Manchester United, but I think we can definitely do with an improvement at goalkeeper. And there's a lot of players out there to improve us. I'm not going to act like I watch a lot of Lamens, but his data is very good. His underlying numbers are very good. Why is that keep popping up as well? Nicholas Jackson is for sale. 100 million for him. They'll never get that, Chelsea. Nicholas Jackson would improve Man United. All I'm saying is he would improve Man United. Do I want us to go for Nicholas Jackson? No. I don't want Man United to go for Nicholas Jackson. I don't want us to go and do business with Chelsea because Chelsea will mug us off in the window. I'm hoping, though, with Chelsea getting 50 million plus for Madueke, which is crazy. Like, Madueke, if Arsenal bought him for 30, 35 million, I think it's a good deal for Arsenal for depth. But you don't spend 52 million on a depth option. I don't think it's a bad player or a bad signing. I think it'd be a good signing for Newcastle. But Arsenal spending 50 million on Madueke is pretty crazy. But what I wanted to say is if Madueke is going for 50 plus million, could Chelsea be going for Garnacho? In regards to Nicholas Jackson, I wouldn't take him at Manchester United. I think he's an improvement, but Højlund scored 4 goals last season, so what isn't an improvement right now? Is the stream quality okay? By the way, is the stream quality okay? I don't know if I'm lagging a little bit. Again, hotel Wi-Fi. Like the hotel Wi-Fi is giving me 45 megabytes per second of download, so that's quite good for a hotel. To be honest, it's probably better than my Wi-Fi at times, but it's the upload that I think is what impacts the streams. So I do apologize if it dips or it's blurred. Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me. Don't know if you heard that. Someone just went. So yeah, okay, it's okay. Everyone's saying the stream quality is fine, which is good. I just feel like it might be a bit blurry if I do that. So let's continue on into some more stories and more updates. So we've spoken about goalkeepers. Onana is out. That was said by good journalist Mike McGrath, which is seen to be confirmed by many other journalists. He's going to be out for 6 weeks. He's going to miss pre-season tour. We've been linked to John Victor. We've been linked to Lemens. We've been linked to Milinkovic-Savic. That's the most likely option. I think, again, Bayendier being sold will have a big impact on what we do as well. Oh, wow. I've just been sent something stupid. No. Do you think we should be in the market for a new goalkeeper? Yes. Even if Onana wasn't injured, we should be in the market for a new goalkeeper. Now Onana is injured, we should definitely be in the market for a new goalkeeper. Because I'm telling you this, for the millionth time this video, Bayendier is not better than Onana. Bayendier's had one good game for United, and that was versus Arsenal, where he started badly and it became good because he saved a penalty. So for me, we should be working on a goalkeeper regardless. Regardless of Onana, we should be working on the goalkeeper. Regardless of Onana being injured, we should be working on the goalkeeper. Yeah, so Onana being injured, so Onana was making sure he stayed at United because his wife likes to spend silly money on handbags. It's Mike. I mean, I don't think that is the case. I know, like, there's that theory that Lindelof, when we wanted to sell him this summer, kept getting injured. Like, Lindelof was fit, and as soon as the transfer window opened, he kept getting injured. I don't think Onana's gone and got himself injured because the transfer window's open. I don't think we were. I think we wanted to sell Onana, but we realised we weren't going to be able to. So then we said we don't want to sell Onana with the briefs. But now he's injured, we're probably not going to be able to sell him. But the plan is sell Bayendier, bring in a good second keeper that's going to challenge Onana. Whether that's the Botafogo keeper, whether that's Lemens, I'm not sure. But obviously the story from Mike McGrath that Onana is out injured has now been confirmed. We do have Ben Jacobs also talking about Bryan Mbeumo. Now, Ben Jacobs obviously suggested 3 weeks ago that Mbeumo's medical was next week, so his reliability in regards to the Mbeumo deal has definitely gone down, Ben Jacobs. But even Ben Jacobs is coming out giving some updates in regards to Mbeumo to Manchester United. And Ben Jacobs was coming out and saying that United do continue to work on a Bryan Mbeumo with the hope they can advance him for their pre-season tour of America. Parties remain in advanced talks, was said by Ben Jacobs on Bryan Mbeumo. I mean, is that an update? Is it an update? Is it just telling us that United are still working on Mbeumo, which we already know? Yeah. I mean, it's not really an update, is it? It's not really an update, but that's what Ben Jacobs has said on Onana. It's just another source telling us we're continuing to work on a deal for Onana, which we've kind of known for a while. And I'll tell you something else I'm fed up of. I'm not just fed Onana, Mbeumo. Why am I saying Onana? It's another journalist telling us we're working on a deal for Mbeumo, which we've been told for 4 weeks. Until we get an Mbeumo, here we go. I don't care. But what I do care is what Mike McGrath said on Mbeumo, purely because Mike McGrath was spot on with Onana today, broke that story, and he is suggesting there should be an Mbeumo breakthrough within the next week ahead of the tour. Man United want Mbeumo on tour. He's going to go back to Brentford in a few days to train. Brentford don't want him back in training because they're going to sell him. So it makes sense that that breakthrough could happen for Onana. Now, Sancho is an interesting one because Romano was suggesting that Juventus prefer other options to Sancho. But every Italian source keeps drumming on that Sancho's really close to Juventus. We've got about 8 or 9 different Italian sources basically telling us Sancho has an agreement with Juventus. Juventus is going to play this. The deal is really close. I don't know where these Italian sources are getting news from. Is something actually happening, or is Sancho getting his agent to work like mad and make up stories about him to try and drive some interest in him because Sancho's maybe annoyed that he hasn't got the interest he hoped for when he rejected 200k a week from Chelsea? I don't know what's going on with Sancho in that sense, because we keep getting told, like, from Italian sources, there's an agreement there, there's agreement in principle there, Sancho's close to agreeing terms, the Sancho deal's really close, and then Romano will come out and just say, no, Juventus prefer Cancelo. Now, Di Marzio was coming out saying that Juventus are pushing for Sancho and there's been a new contract with Manchester United to reach an agreement, all of that. Italian sources keep coming out that it's very close. Some sources saying we've reached an agreement, some sources saying we're close to reaching an agreement. But they've been saying this for 3 weeks, and Romano and Ornstein haven't really been saying it. We've also got news from Di Marzio about apparently Juventus made an offer of 8.6 million plus 4.3 in add-ins, which is an absolutely funny and pathetic offer for Jadon Sancho, but I'd accept it if it got him out the door. I'd accept this offer for Jadon Sancho because maybe if we gave them Jadon Sancho for like 7 or 8 million quid cheaper than we should give them Jadon Sancho for, maybe they would then pay his wages and he would get out of the club. But for me, yeah, it's embarrassing for Sancho. As Alex said here, he's a clown, he's wealthy, and he won't even take a slight pay cut for his career. We worked it out yesterday in the end. So Sancho's on 300k a week at United, but because we're not in the Champions League, he would earn 225k a week at United. So right now, Sancho is earning 225k a week. He forced 2 loan moves out of United, spoke about just wanting to play football, being unhappy, just wanting to play football, and freedom. So you'd think he would take a 25k a week wage cut to go to Chelsea, because Chelsea offered him 200k a week. That's more than Caicedo. That's more than Palmer. Did Sancho do enough at Chelsea to warrant 200k a week? Sancho is a player for me with his performances in the last 4 years, which don't warrant any more than 100 grand a week. And he got offered 200 grand a week, which is 25 grand a week pay cut. 25 grand a week pay cut, which isn't that much. And look, it's Man United's fault for giving him a massive contract, yes. But when you're preaching freedom, when you're forcing 2 loan moves and you're coming out saying you just want to play football and enjoy playing football, and you've had 3 or 4 opportunities to leave Man United and you won't because of the wages, you are a money grabber. You are 25, the World Cup is coming out, you've got time to change your career, and you'll happily waste another year of your career to get a big payout. That is so embarrassing for Sancho. If we'd have forced Sancho out, I'd say fair play, he can run down his contract, because he never wanted to leave. But we didn't force Sancho out. Sancho's first season, he was crap and underwhelming. What did fans do? Fans got behind Sancho, they were patient, they were backed him, they said it's his first season, he needs time to develop. His second season, incredibly underwhelming, but then we found out he was struggling with some stuff off the pitch. So Ten Hag gave Sancho 4 months off. So what did we do? We got behind Sancho, we supported Sancho, and when he came back, we gave him a lovely reception. So Sancho's first 2 years at Manchester United was underwhelming. He got 4 months off, and look, in his last couple of games after the 4 months off, he was showing encouraging signs. And I was like, oh, I like what I see in 3 or 4 games. And that was it. In Sancho's first 2 seasons at United, I could probably count 7 games where he put in a 7 out of 10 performance or above at max. Maybe not even 7, maybe 5. Okay? Like, I remember he had a good game against Leeds. Like, maybe 5 games. You could count Sancho's good performances for Man United on your hands for a £72 million player on 300 grand a week. His third season at Manchester United, he didn't even play because 3 games into the season, he had a strop that he didn't start any of the games. Look, Ahmad was benched for Forson. Ahmad got benched off the playing well. Did Ahmad drop? No, he got on with it. Sancho should have played over Anthony when Anthony was crap the first 3 games in the Premier League and he didn't. But instead of fighting and working hard to fight back in his place in the team like Ahmad did when Ten Hag dropped Ahmad for no reason, he had a sulk and then he spoke out about the manager and he got a choice. You either do not, it's September, you either do not play football again to January, which is another 4 months of not playing football, despite you missing 4 months at the beginning of the year, or you apologise to your manager. What did Sancho do? I can't apologise, I'm from the streets. I can't apologise, I'm from the streets, apparently. So he wouldn't apologise. He wouldn't apologise to his manager. So he took another 4 months out of football. Went on loan, cool, was all right on loan, nothing special, but it was all right on loan. Dortmund were gassing him up. Dortmund didn't want to buy him. They were gassing him up. They didn't want to buy him. So then what happens with Sancho is he goes to Chelsea. And we think finally we're getting rid of him. 25 million obligation to buy. No, we've been given 5 million to send him back. Not that Chelsea wanted to actually send him back, but because the guy that preached freedom and forced 2 loan moves and refused to play, he didn't refuse to play for United, but he refused to apologise knowing that he would not play for United again, has now decided he won't take a 25k a week wage cut to leave Man United when it's World Cup year, when it's the time to redeem his career, when he talks about freedom. It's so embarrassing. I honestly can't get my head round Jadon Sancho. I can't get my head. And someone said lazy stereotype. No, it's because Sancho, what Benny McCarthy came out and said that Sancho said he's from the streets. I think it was Benny McCarthy. Like, I didn't make that up. I'm not saying that. as like me stereotyping. It's because Benny McCarthy came out with some quote about Sancho being from the streets and you can't apologise or something like that. Like, it's not me making up a stereotype. I just want to make that clear. I think it was Benny McCarthy that did an interview about Sancho and what went down and why Sancho couldn't apologise. It was something to do with him and where he was from. So I don't want people to think I was stereotyping and making that up about Sancho. It was from something that Benny McCarthy did say, I believe. I can try and find the quote, but he said something like that. So that was the situation there in regards to that. Sunglasses is because I just look absolutely dead and stuff as well. Absolutely dead. I don't even know what from the streets means. Does that mean like from London? Like, what does that actually mean? Like like from the streets. Does that mean like you've just had it harder? I actually don't know. I just assume it means you're from London, you've had it harder. I don't know. But anyway, these are the updates on United. So Onana out of pre-season tour. United are considering making a move for another goalkeeper. Vitek may get a chance. There is links to Scalvini, but it's not very credible. There is Mbeumo, apparently a break room in the next week. Let's hope so. And there is that whole Jadon Sancho, apparently close, according to every source in Italy. But every good source said it's not close. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you guys maybe later tonight. There's some updates. I am on holiday, so I'm going to try and do 2 pieces of content a day, 1 live stream and 1 video. But like, if there's just not much to talk about, it might just be 1 piece of content. But I will try and get 2 pieces of content out a day while on holiday. But it will just depend on the news, to be honest. So if there's any interesting news, there will be a video tonight. If there's not much to talk about, there won't be. But thanks everyone for watching. See you next time. Bye.